Hello and welcome back to my favourites of 2023, and this time we're taking a look back at some of the small screen hits of the year. From boardrooms to mushrooms to dining rooms, we've had a little bit of everything this year, so let's get into it. Succession ended this year with its 4th season and cemented its place as one of the finest pieces of television of the last decade, with an absolutely brutal final batch of episodes. I binged the whole series, all 4 seasons, within the space of around 2 months, and it was absolutely incredible, from the performances, to the music, to the writing, which includes some of the snappiest dialogue I've seen in a long time. Episode 3 of this final series is rightfully one of the highest rated TV episodes of all time, and I would agree with that entirely. It's tense, confusing, and emotionally devastating, thanks to astounding performances from Sarah Snook, Kieran Culkin, and Jeremy Strong. The consistency of Succession has honestly never faltered, with near perfection from the entire crew throughout its 5 years. A well-deserved winner of 13 Emmys, and it's also nominated in just about every category for 2024. A must-watch. Don't you just love video game adaptations? From the ones that barely adapt anything you remember, to the just plain bad, we've pretty much had it all by now. Thankfully, The Last of Us with Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey just about hits the nail on the head. While it might seem rushed in some places to players of the game, it does manage to land on its feet when it matters the most, with impressive set design, horrifying creatures, and brilliant performances. In fact, one of the best episodes isn't even about the main characters, with stunning guest appearances from Nick Offerman and Murray Bartlett. I must admit I wasn't massively blown away about the cast of this series to begin with, but the main actors really did a great job, making us care about the complicated relationship between Ellie and Joel over the course of its 9 episodes. And thankfully for fans of the games and the show, Season 2, based on the story of The Last of Us 2, is already in production. One of my favourite creators, Mike Flanagan, dropped his final Netflix series this year before his production company moves to Amazon, and yet again it was a hit. While not anywhere near as terrifying or intense as Hill House or Bly Manor, House of Usher still had us hiding behind cushions, or at least feeling very uncomfortable. Along with returning Flanagan favourites Carla Gugino and Henry Thomas, the series also brought in veterans Mark Hamill, William H. Macy, and Carl Lumley, bringing some serious experience and gravitas to the tense moments, of which there are a huge amount. One note I would add is don't eat pasta or anything similar looking during episode 2 and 3, just trust me on that one. House of Usher is a brilliant closing note for Flanagan's time with Netflix, finishing up a wildly successful partnership that started way back in 2018. And I say way back because we've had a pandemic since then, so it feels like decades ago. I can't wait to see what Mike cooks up with Amazon in the future though. The decade-long saga of Loki in the Marvel Cinematic Universe finally came to an end this year with Season 2 of the self-titled TV series. Tom Hiddleston seems to be done with the character, but never say never, with that ending still feeling like he could be open to a return in the future. Jonathan Majors comes back as Kang's variant, but now probably never will again due to real-life legal problems, leaving Marvel with a serious conundrum that actually really taints what has been a great series in Loki. Owen Wilson and Sophia DiMartino put in outstanding shifts as supporting characters Mobius and Sylvie, but the real star is Hiddleston, who's had an outstanding 12 years in the Marvel Universe, taking Loki from slimy, calculating villain to literally the saviour of everything. Both seasons of Loki are truly a joy to watch and a real high point of what has really been kind of a fairly middling and underwhelming phase of the MCU. And while you're watching Loki Season 2, make sure you watch out for an Oscar-winning Ouroboros as well. The 2nd season of The Bear dropped this season, following Jeremy Allen White's volatile chef Carmen Bazzato as he transforms his late brother's sandwich shop in Chicago into a bespoke gourmet restaurant. Featuring cameos from Olivia Colman, Bob Odenkirk, and Will Poulter, not to mention a fantastic guest star in Jamie Lee Curtis, The Bear really jumped up a notch this year, especially when it comes to Carmen's brother Richie, who seems to finally decide what he wants to be. Episodes 6 and 7, simply titled Fishers and Forks, are the peak of the season, giving the viewer a huge amount of backstory and character development sorely needed to immerse yourself in the chaotic lives of our kitchen heroes. And personally, I can't wait for Season 3. And that about wraps us up on my top rated TV of this year, but just like I did with movies, I've got a few honourable mentions to nominate. This year brought yet another brilliant series of Only Murders in the Building, treating us to some wonderful guest stars in Paul Rudd and Meryl Streep. The extra star power added admittedly mostly carnage with Streep's family issues and budding romance with Martin Short, causing some extra drama in a show that's dramatic enough considering a famous actor has just been murdered. Paul Rudd does a great job as smarmy star Ben Glenroy, and our magical trio of Short, Steve Martin and Selena Gomez continue to show off their funny and extremely charming chemistry. The first John Wick Universe edition came this year with The Continental, set in the 1970s and featuring the younger version of hotel manager Winston, played magnificently in the films by Ian McShane. Colin Woodell takes on his role in this prequel series, matched up against a menacing Mel Gibson. While it never reaches the impressive level of choreography that the John Wick movies do, it's still a satisfying period piece detailing how Winston came to be in charge, albeit still held down by the High Table. And lastly, we have The Boys spin-off Gen V, set in Godolkin University, not so subtly shortened to God U. The university takes in superpower teenagers and trains them to become heroes, ultimately vying for a chance to join Vought Industries, the Seven. Expect just as much violence, gore, and nudity as the main Boys series, including a rather bizarre fight involving some poor defenseless Muppets. And I mean the fuzzy puppet characters, not the British slang. Also, you don't have to watch Gen V to prepare for the next season of The Boys, however, I really would recommend it because it's just a damn good time. And that's your lot. Thank you so much for a great year in 2023, and I hope you've enjoyed these videos and maybe found a few things to watch during your time off. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you fancy and you want to see more stuff similar to this, and I'll see you in 2024.